The sunrise of Jesus has bathed, coloured the earth and bathed it in glorious hope. Amid all the words of prayers and readings today, perhaps the most important is that word hope. Hope isn't some blind optimism that everything's okay, Jack, or something will turn up, or let's just look on the bright side of life. It's not an escape route from the world's sufferings. Rather, it's that base note that brings a deeper, truer perspective as we respond to the challenges of today. The organisers of this year's season of creation, drawn from churches across the world, recognised that anxiety and despair are gripping many people at this time. They commented that in the face of the constant, overwhelming and devastating news about climate chaos, biodiversity loss, and the ever-growing mountains of pollution, it's easy to fall into despair. But as people of faith, we have hope. The confidence in what we hope for and the assurance of what we do not yet see. In the words of Archbishop Tutu, hope is being able to see that there is light despite all the darkness. And if he was saying that in the darkness of apartheid, then we think about the darkness of creation being damaged so deeply, and yet light does shine. The hope that God gives us spurs us into action, to act with creation for the renewal of life, the protection of the planet and its species. If we don't bring the two words together, hope and act, then hope just remains words. But before we ask ourselves what we are to do, we need to renew that hope, which is fundamental. The hope comes from the deep conviction that this world is no accident or impersonal machine, but rather the magnificent creation of our loving and living God. Hope in the Lord, Isaiah says, and your strength will be renewed. In that reading from Romans that Sarah shared with us, Paul pictures creation as groaning, as like a woman in childbirth, that pain of childbirth. And he says that we groan as well with creation. He goes on to speak of decay and frustration and bondage and suffering. And that we see all echoed in the world around us. The terrible impact that humanity has on itself, on each other, and on the planet and its life. And our worship has to recognize that groan of creation, and that groan within us. There's a real lament to be had over the damage that we have made to our natural world. Too long, the natural world has been seen as a commodity to be exploited, and our sense of connection and solidarity with the creation of which we are part has so often been lost. We need to learn again to groan with creation, to groan with that loss, And yet that hope of new birth, of new life, of new directions, the groaning is not in vain. It will bring a new birth. For Paul, this hope is not detached or separated from creation. It's not humanity escaping. It is for the whole of creation. Our hope, our personal hope for the future is connected with the hope God gives for the rest of creation. We need to hold the two together. The hope, he says, is that creation itself will be liberated from the bondage of decay and brought into the freedom and glory of the children of God. That hope takes us beyond the present to the potential for the future of a world renewed, of each part of the created order playing its part, being allowed to play its part, restored and treasured, saved for the delight of God. For now, we give thanks to God for the small signs of hope and renewal, the resilience of nature despite all that we throw at it, the determination of so many people to change their ways and to protect the planet, the many environmental projects and campaigns, the discovery of new ways to harness nature's power for good and to overcome what we have done to it. Nature can recover and adapt. We as human beings can recover and change and adapt too. And behind it all, the Creator's love for this glorious yet fragile world remains constant and unchanging. In the words of that beautiful prayer from the Aboriginal community, may the sunrise of God's Son colour the earth anew and bathe it in glorious hope. Let's hold that hope and act upon it. Amen.